What's up, everybody? Welcome into NBA DFS Live for Tuesday, January 26th. I'm your host, Ben. I'm joined by James today. You cannot see his face, but you'll be able to hear his voice. He's here. We have a small slate today, only 3 games. James, how was your night last night? I think we both had good nights, correct?
We did. We've both been pretty hot over the last 7 days. I believe that I am 6-2 in my last 8 for cash games on DraftKings. We both were on Luka. We were talking before the show. We were surprised about Luka's ownership, but we feel like we're always guys who are going to jam him, and he's been good to us. So we'll keep riding Luka while we can.
Yeah. I was shocked he was only like around 20% last night, but I guess it made sense. Looking at some of the other people, like I didn't even check what Curry ended up being owned, but I know like it kind of seemed like he was going to be higher than Luca.
Yeah, Curry was pretty high as
Yeah,
well. He
yeah,
was he was significantly higher than Luka. He was underpriced last night though, but I believe did you play both of them? I played both of them. So
I had Luca and who did I play? I played Luca, Bam, and someone else.
gotcha. Yeah, I had Luka, Curry, and Luka, Curry, and Bam. So it was a great night.
Yeah, all right. I actually like this slate for it only being 3 games, but obviously there was some big news. Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard are all out due to health protocols. So we got that news yesterday, and then we also got the news yesterday that Christian would be out again for the Rockets. So DraftKings did a really good job of pricing up some of these Clippers guys with that news, but they did not do a good job pricing up Demarcus Cousins as he is still only $6,000. Should be a lot higher than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they just completely sleep at the wheel per usual. DraftKings here with the pricing. I just think their algorithm's broken. I mean, there's no way that this guy can keep producing at the level that he is and at the ownership that he is in these matchups, and him not getting price bump. So I mean, we saw with the Kevin Herter the other night was 9,500. So they got something wrong over there in their Excel spreadsheet. So they got to work on it.
Yeah. People will overthink it and not play Cousins again today. He's never been, he's never going to be 100% owned, but you should be playing him pretty much on every team again, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. He's underpriced on FanDuel as well. I mean, yeah, he's just a great all around play, both sides.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, head to YouTube. It's Karma Media Network. You can ask your questions in there. James has that pulled up so we can kind of answer any questions you have. We're gonna go position by position. Obviously, there's less guys to talk about today with there only being 3 games, so we can kind of focus on some questions if you guys have them. Starting at point guard, you have Russell Westbrook, Trey Young, and Clint Capella. Both are questionable, so that's really the big news that we're waiting on. And then you have Mitchell, Oladipo, John Wall, and Reggie Jackson up there at 6,800. I don't know where you're going at point guard. I think that my favorite play is John Wall for the price. You can see he is the best value score in our projections at around 5.1. I think he's a really strong play. And then I really like Donovan Mitchell tonight. He's been on fire. I like the matchup against the Knicks, and I like his price point at 8,400. Even if Trey plays, I prefer Mitchell to Trey for the price.
Yeah, I'm all over John Wall tonight. I mean, I'm not a big revenge spot guy, but throw that on top of the underpriced. He's underpriced, under 7K, and just in a fabulous spot here against Washington, who's going to play absolutely no defense. You brought up a good point before we got started too, just how many steals he could potentially run into against Westbrook, who is, very turnover prone. The one other guy at point guard that I was looking at, you said that you like Mitchell. I think Mike Conley is underpriced on DraftKings today at 6,500. He's been actually insanely consistent. I don't like to, peek behind the game logs until I make a decision if I like a player or not. But he's actually been great this year. So he might be a staple in my cash lineups today, and I don't think he's going to be very popular.
Yeah, I have no issues with Conley at that price tag, so I think that's a pretty good play as well. And I think that you kind of pointed it out before we started the stream. That game is going to be lower owned than the other two, so
Absolutely.
I'm completely fine getting some PMR there. What's your thoughts on Lou Williams? Because we're definitely not playing Reggie Jackson on DraftKings at that price. On FanDuel, you can certainly play Reggie where he's cheaper. Lou Williams, I think, is probably the best Clippers play other than Marcus Morris, but I still think Lou's in play at 5,800, just probably not a cash game option for me.
Yeah, I agree. He was going to be the player that I actually asked you about next because I'm a little bit confused on what to do with him. He missed last game. Going to play tonight with George and Kawhi out. I mean, this is normally a spot where we'd want to jam Lou, right? Like anytime that we can project Lou for 30 minutes, we want to play him without Kawhi and Paul George. But I feel really uneasy about his minutes. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. He's like stretching out his legs on the bench, and he's got ice packs on, like right at the end of like his third quarter shifts, like not coming back out for the game. I don't know. It's just weird, but like the usage rate is still really high for him. So I don't know. What do you think we should do with Lou today? I think I'm leaning avoiding him, but that could be a bad take.
No, I'm in agreement. I'm definitely not playing him in cash. I think he's fine for tournaments. I think he is unhappy with the Clippers as a team. I think he's kind of checked out. I know it's really early in the season, but I don't know. Definitely don't like what I've seen from him. But he has been really good in the situation with George and Kawhi off the floor, right? Dating back to last season. But a lot of that data is from last season, so it's kind of tough to know what to do with it. But I think he's fine. In tournaments, we can move to shooting guard unless you have anyone else at point guard you like.
No, nobody else really a point guard for me. Just honorary mention has to be a gold star GPP play, Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, just the per minute stuff that this guy's producing at. We saw the uptick, 24 minutes. If you had to guess what Emmanuel Quickly's usage rate last game was in 24 minutes, what do you think it was, Ben?
North, maybe like 20, 25.
42% usage rate in his time on the floor last game.
Yeah, I mean, why? I don't know why he doesn't get more minutes, man.
Yeah, they need to sit Austin Rivers and Alfred Payton down and just start playing quickly into the mid 30s minutes and invest in their future. So, I mean, who knows when that could happen? We've already seen the type of upside he has. So if you're looking for, a GPP dart throw, Emmanuel Quickly might be the guy who can get you to the top for low ownership.
Yeah, one of my best nights of the season so far was a couple weeks ago. I played Quickly on FanDuel. He was like 3,800 or something. That. Yeah, he was he was like 1% owned, and I played him and he went for over 40. That was one of my best nights of the season. But all right, shooting guard, Bradley Beal, far and away the highest projection here. 52 DraftKings points is what we have him projected for, just under 10K. You have Mitchell, who we talked about at point guard. RJ Barrett, Oladipo, Lou Williams, some of the same names that we've been talking about there. So I kind of told you before the stream, I don't really think this is a great spot for RJ Barrett because he does so much of his scoring at the rim. He can't shoot very well. Obviously, they have Rudy Gobert to protect the rim. So I don't know how much I like him today. Depot, I think, is fine at 7,900, but again, I personally like Mitchell more for 500 more. But you can disagree, and I would definitely listen to it. So I guess my question to you is what you're doing with Bradley Beal.
I will be playing Bradley Beal on both sides today. I just, as someone who is not a Russell Westbrook truther, if he's limited at all, playing in those mid 20s minutes, if he's not ready to get up to the 30s, I mean, this is a fantastic spot for Beal. We were talking about the Knicks and Jazz being lower scoring compared to the other games on this slate, and that's because this Wizards Rockets game, the total opened at 230.5, and it's already been steamed up to 233.5. So there will be very little defense played in this game, and we've seen what Bradley Beal can do when he gets hot. He is a little bit scoring dependent, so he is definitely a guy that you can pivot off of if you don't feel as confidently as I do in him today. But yeah, I will have Bradley Beal on both sites. I think the Oladipo Mitchell conversation is interesting. For me, I just want to get as many pieces of this 233 total as I can, and I think I'll be playing Oladipo on both sites as well, but I understand the Mitchell play. I actually think it's a really strong DraftKings play because he'll be lower owned than he's going to be on FanDuel. So if you're looking to get a little bit different and hope that Wall and Cousins do most of the production for the Rockets, I could definitely see Oladipo falling flat here.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin Herter's there at 5,600. If, some of these Hawks guys, like if Trey missed, we could look at him potentially. But right now, like that price point's going to be something I avoid because I'm assuming that Trey plays. So that could be something that's updated closer to lock. And then we have a couple cheap guys here, Garrison Matthews and Jerome Robinson. I think both are going to be popular value plays for the Wizards. Obviously, they have Russ and Beal, but they are still missing a bunch of bodies due to health protocols. I think that Robinson is going to be higher owned, but it is like noteworthy. Like I think Matthews is slightly higher per minute producer. So if you think Robinson's going to be higher owned, maybe you could pivot to Matthews. But I think both are in play for cheap.
Yeah, straight up, I prefer Robinson a little bit more just because he's starting and a little bit more secure minutes, I feel like. But for me, Matthews is a way better FanDuel play just because of positional stuff, being able to pay down at that small forward 2 spot to get up at shooting guard and point guard and to jamming Cousins and whatnot makes a lot of sense for me. So it'll probably be Robinson on DraftKings and Matthews on FanDuel for me.
Yep, I have no disagreements there. You have anyone else here? You went with the small forward.
I guess an honorable mention for. Ooh, man, that price is rough. I almost just gave the Luke Kennard honorable mention, but man, that price is rough.
Yeah, they were very aggressive with his price tag there.
Yeah, I guess just keep monitoring the Trey and Capella news. Reddish could move into the fold here if Trey was out.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on that Atlanta news. Small forward is horrible today. Like I said, I don't really like RJ today that much. Batum, they bumped him up to 6,300 on DraftKings. I think Hunter would be interesting to me for tournaments if Trey is out, but if Trey's in, tough to stomach 6,200 there. So I think the best play is going to be Marcus Morris here at 4,700 with those Clippers guys out.
Yeah, absolutely going to be Marcus Morris as the best play. I actually think he might be like the second highest owned play on the slate behind Cousins. Like he's that good of a play today on DraftKings at a terrible position. Robinson has the small forward eligibility too. I like kind of playing both of them together, taking up that small forward spots on DraftKings today. So I think it's pretty clearly Marcus Morris, and I'm probably going to go there on both sides.
Yeah, I agree. He's clearly the best play for me as well. Don't need to overthink that. Power forward, Julius Randle here is clearly the highest projection for us at 43 DraftKings points. Don't think you'll be playing him at 9,700 because I think we both like Beal more than him in that same pricing tier, so we'll be trying to get to him. But I think Randle's fine in tournaments always. And then you have John Collins at 7,600. I don't like that price tag. If Capella was out, I would consider it in tournaments just because we know John Collins can be very productive for fantasy when he's able to play center. And as long as Capella's in, that really, he gets basically no minutes at center. So that really hurts him. But I do think if Capella was out, I would still consider Collins a little bit.
Yeah, I said before we got on here, John Collins is my kryptonite this year. I mean, I played him way too much to start the year. And I just ran into all those bad foul trouble games. But if Capella was out, it opens up those minutes at the 5 where Collins can thrive, and you just got to pray that, Zubac and Ibaka don't get him into foul trouble. And he should smash if Capella's out.
Yeah, I agree. Batum, no way we're touching that price tag. So do you have anyone else? I mean, obviously you can use Marcus Morris here on DK. He has both, but.
Yeah, Batum's actually small forward on FanDuel. I like him over there at a thinner position. He's a good value over there. And then for power forward, Ibaka and Morris are both power forwards over on FanDuel, and they're both really strong plays over there as well. For FanDuel today, there's going to be a really chalky lineup that's going to be a train, and everyone's going to play it. So if you're not into that kind of thing, don't play that lineup. But it is projecting significantly better than other lineup combinations. So if you don't like those trains, avoid FanDuel today.
Yeah, that seems to happen quite often on FanDuel, that you just get these massive trains. But that could be good for tournaments because you kind of know the way people are going to go, especially in like the single entry stuff. So you can get a little bit different if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. Honorable mention for a value play is just Isaac Bonga. I mean, he got up to 33 minutes last game. If we think that Russ is going to play a little bit less minutes again, I kind of think Russ is going to play a pretty full complement of minutes. Do you agree with that, or do you think he's still pretty limited?
No, I think he'll play more minutes than he did over the weekend.
Yeah,
So
I
that
think
does
he
hurt.
definitely gets into low 30s for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just an honorable mention value play. But man, I mean, power forward, small forward, pretty weak. Not a ton of great plays.
Yeah, there's going to be some chalk options there. So I think I'm probably just going to be eating the chalk, honestly, because it's a pretty gross position. We'll finish up at center here. I mean, we were alluding to it at the beginning of the show, but Demarcus Cousins at only 6,000. For an example, Luka Doncic is like just over 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Demarcus Cousins is just under 1.6 fantasy points per minute in his start this year. So you're getting him at 6,000, whereas Luka is, almost 11,000. So I just see no reason not to play Demarcus Cousins in every lineup today.
I mean, where was this Cousins on the Lakers? I mean, he looked slow. He looked terrible coming off that Achilles injury. So maybe just the year recovery has really helped him a ton. But yeah, you just play Cousins in every lineup, and the 5 to 6% that don't play him, they just help contribute to the rake, and we just move on.
Yeah, he definitely looked dead on the Warriors and the Lakers. Like, did not look good whatsoever. And that was kind of what I was looking for most in the preseason, was to see what he looked like. And he looked like he's not the same player that he was, obviously, after those injuries, but he does look better than he did on the Lakers, to your point. So,
Yep. What do you think about Rudy Gobert today? I think he's a really, really, really interesting play that may go a little bit under-owned, and I actually think he's really underpriced. I think he might be like my favorite Jazz guy. I don't know. I know you're really on Mitchell today, but Rudy at 7.2K seems like a fantastic play here against the Knicks.
Yeah, he's far and away the second highest value at this position. 7,200. I mean, they bumped Ibaka's price up a ton on DK, 6,600. I would much rather play Rudy. I think you can stack Rudy and Mitchell together. I don't think they negatively correlate as much as people think. So I'm fine playing him. Honestly, the matchup is obviously really good against the Knicks. Pretty bad defensive front court there.
Yeah, I've been considering lineups with both Cousins and Rudy, trying to jam them in on DraftKings. It's been a little tough just because some of this value is a little bit too thin for me to just be, jamming in all these 7K plus guys that I really like. And we both obviously love Beal and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think I could play Mitchell, Gobert, and Beal together.
Oh, no. Yeah. I would
because I'm definitely playing Wall.
Play.
Like we have to assume we're both playing John Wall, right? So
yeah.
So we're putting him in. Like I don't think I would have to choose between him and Mitchell. I like Mitchell more, but I guess that's interesting, dropping down $1,000 or whatever and getting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. What do you think about this guy's pretty interesting. I actually think he might catch some ownership, which I'm okay with, and I probably am not going to go here, but still want your thoughts on Alex Len.
Yeah, I
feel like they might need his height against Boogie. That's like the one thing that is like driving me to think about him. But go ahead.
No, I do think that they'll need him to combat Cousins. So I don't hate it at his price. I mean, he's 3,300. Not someone I would go in cash, but I don't mind it in tournaments, I guess. I thought you were gonna I thought you were gonna say Zubac at 5K. But...
No, he's semi interesting, I guess, but I don't think I'm going there. And I love playing him. So for me not to be considering him there at 5K, I mean, should tell the story. But they can just in this matchup, especially if Capella's out, like it could just be Collins versus Ibaka at the 5, and that's how they'll run it. They can just play because they can play like way smaller lineups with against Atlanta. The one guy that we haven't brought up, and I may get onto on DraftKings, just as a value last guy in, is PJ Tucker. Not exciting. Ben, you brought up that he has weird random spike games. Not anticipating one of those today, although it is the kind of game where he can get there on stocks. I am semi-interested in him on DraftKings just because forward is so bad and he has the power forward center eligibility, and it allows me to kind of get in whatever else I want with the studs and the really good value plays that we have.
Yeah. It definitely like you like him, I guess, in like those fast paced games, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with PJ Tucker, right? Like there have been times in DFS where he has been chalky and done nothing. I feel like he does nothing more often than doing something, but he does have it in the tank that where he has those weird games, and that's what keeps people coming back. I feel like, but he's not gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be owned on the slate. So
Oh
I'm
no, not
I'm
at
I'm
all.
always fine playing like taking a shot on him if he's the last guy in your lineup is fine when he's not
But
gonna be
listen,
owned.
if I could run into this 3 for 5 from three, 5 for 8 from the floor, 2 block game, and fall into some rebounds from PJ Tucker, I mean, I'll take it. He is pretty. I mean, you're on a 3 game slate at 4,100, getting 30 minutes from a guy. He has to be in play. You know, you just got to consider him there.
Yeah, I feel like I would rather take a shot on Len though. Am I crazy saying that?
I don't think you're crazy for
I
saying
mean, he's
that.
a good bit cheaper, and he
So
he
so
did play 21
yeah, that
minutes last game.
sucks. The lineup that I'm working on would have been perfect, but if with Len, but the problem is I would want to play Rudy and I can't play 3 centers. So
Yeah,
that stinks. But what are you gonna do?
yeah, that's gonna be interesting. This
Definitely
this isn't
interesting.
this is an interesting 3 game slate. I'm not gonna lie.
It is for sure. I did register on FanDuel and DraftKings today. I'm thinking about maybe moving some FanDuel stuff and moving back onto DraftKings just because I'm finding it more interesting to build. But then again, this one FanDuel lineup is like so much better than the rest of them that maybe I just run it and split with everybody and call it a day.
Yeah. um, I don't know. I can never play that chalk lineup on FanDuel. I can never
Yeah,
do it. Like,
I
and
know. It's
I
tough.
only play cash. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I play a little bit of tournaments, obviously, but I mainly just play cash. So it makes sense to play that lineup when I know,
Yep.
and I just never can bring myself to do it.
Yeah, I suggest so this is what I do on slates like this when one lineup just gets, super super popular is I like to just load up on head to heads because you get your rake back for any duplicated head to heads. So and I kind of want to play anyone who's not playing like the one really really strong lineup. So I just load up on head to heads, and then if you dupe me, then I get my rake back, whatever, we move on. But if someone isn't playing that lineup, I definitely want to play them in a head to head. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, honestly.
So I have one last question for you to help me on FanDuel today. Batum or Hunter straight up if Trey and Capella play?
I would play Batum.
Okay.
We don't have a big sample of Batum with PG and Kawhi off the floor because he's only there this year. But
Mm-hmm.
you're assuming he's going to get you like what, just under a point, like maybe not just under, but like probably like 0.9 fantasy points per minute, and
Yeah.
there's upside for more there. I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I just really I've been very impressed with the way Hunter's been playing recently. So that's the only reason that I was considering it. And I think I would like it a little bit. Obviously, Hunter becomes a really strong play if like Capella is ruled out because then it slides Collins down and he kind of picks up some more minutes and whatnot and just usage stuff. But yeah, straight up with Trey and Capella, and I think you're right. It's got to be Batum. I think the conversation obviously gets a lot more interesting if Trey or Clint are out.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I mean, I think we covered this slate pretty well. You can give me a bold call for tonight if you want.
Who bold call? Oh man, I forgot that we were doing these. All right, I'm gonna go with. All right, well, actually, we didn't bring him up. But how about you give me a little Alec Burks revenge game here? Little Alec Burks revenge game, 5.3K. He has shooting guard eligibility on FanDuel, and Burks does he have that small forward on DraftKings? No, only shooting guard. I wish he had small forward, but that'll be my bold call. Is Alec Burks goes 7x today.
Okay, I like that. I'll stick in that same game. Donovan Mitchell is gonna go for 50.
Donovan Mitchell
50 real points.
50 real points.
It's dropping 50.
All right, so are we gonna? So I promised AC that we're gonna give a monkey knife fight play today.
Yeah, hit it.
So
did you see they just got acquired?
They
I don't know if you saw that yet.
Big things coming for them, and
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, huge for the space. I mean, everyone just sees, the future of the sports speculation space, So let's look into this. So you like Donovan Mitchell today, right?
Correct.
All right. So let's stick with this game. We have Donovan Mitchell here. Let's see what his points are here on 25.5 points. So we like that more. He's paired with Julius Randle, 20.5. So if we think that game stays competitive and plays up and down, Randle has that massive minutes upside. Do you think that we go over or under on this 20.5 points for Randle to pair with our Donovan Mitchell over? I think we should correlate it and go overs for both. What do you think?
Yeah, I like overs for both. There is heavy juice. Randall's 20.5 on DK Sportsbook, and there's like heavy juice on the over. It's like minus 130. So
cool. All right, so we're gonna do that 2 for 2. So just to run through a few questions in the chat. I slipped up there, Ben. Was not getting to them in the middle of the live stream, so we're just gonna rattle them off here.
All right, hit me.
All right, so Jacob Brown, what would be the best 3K punt play, if any? I think for me it would be 3.3K for Len. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's got to be Len. I don't know of anyone below Len that I would play, and I think Len is a stretch.
So What Up CC brings up a really good question that I think is a good discussion. Is Depot better when he's got someone else helping create shots like Brogdon did for him? I actually kind of like that Oladipo point guard lineup. He really thrived in those 2 games. And I think that he's going to be asked to do it a lot moving forward with Wall's questionable health and sitting back-to-backs and stuff like that. What do you think? I don't know if it helps him, just because I think he could be really good in that ball handling role.
Yeah. I would rather him be playing point guard without John Wall, right? Like for fantasy. Because he had the ball in his hands a ton. I think that what really happened, so people are going to look at Depot and they're going to be like, oh, he was good for a couple games and then he kind of fell off. I think what happened there was it was really the Demarcus Cousins effect. Okay, so you have him playing alongside Christian Wood. They're running the pick and roll a ton, and it's flowing through Depot more. Demarcus Cousins is a high usage player, right? Christian Wood and Demarcus Cousins are not the same. Like Christian Wood is fine, just setting picks, getting layups. Like Demarcus Cousins is going to get the ball in his hands and he's going to try and score. So I think Cousins negatively affected Depot more than Depot not having someone to create shots around him, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Marty brings up Jordan Clarkson. I mean, I am not a Jordan Clarkson guy, and I kind of get ripped on in Discord all the time for telling people not to play Jordan Clarkson.
I'm not either. When Ingles was out, I was completely fine playing him because he was low owned, and his numbers without Ingles were really strong, and he could be counted on to do more offensively. I don't really like to play him when the Jazz are fully healthy. I understand it on a 3-game slate because no one's going to play him, but
no.
For me, it's just like a couple things. There will always be people who like Jordan Clarkson way more than I do, first of all. And second of all, if I just fade him over 6K every slate for the next, I don't know, 14 to 20 times that he's on the slate, like I'm going to be profitable doing that, I feel like. And there's going to be that one day where he drops like that 40, 45 that he kind of burns me. But even at this 6K price tag, he's not like breaking the slate. You know what I mean? He's kind of like priced out of like really, really like crushing me.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree. Jordan Clarkson. So we just talked about how no one plays Luka, but like there's people that want to play Jordan Clarkson. Like that's such a weird player to like,
I know.
To like
Yeah.
want to play. I don't know. What does he do other than score? I don't know. He doesn't really do much else.
Yeah, good question in the chat from Brian. He asked, what happened to RJ Barrett last game? I actually did not watch that game, and I'm a Knicks fan.
I didn't watch
That
either.
he wasn't not foul trouble. I mean, he shot 4 for 9. I mean, was it just like they ran like smaller lineups with when Quickly got hot? I don't know. I'm not sure. Missed the defensive assignment and Thibs benched him. I'm not entirely sure what happened to RJ last game, but and this isn't really the matchup that we want to go back to RJ. If you want to scroll back and listen to that, Ben and I both agree that he's not really in play for us today. And then last question that we'll do is Marty wants to know best player with the best chance to 7x today. For me, it'll be Cousins and John Wall. What do you think, Ben? Do you agree with those two? Two of the best plays on the slate?
Yeah, it's Cousins for me, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even talk about the John Wall revenge narrative, did we? Oh, I think we did bring it up briefly, but I mean, if you're a revenge truther, today
Yeah,
is,
this has to be. You have to play John Wall today.
Yeah, you're legally obligated if you believe in the revenge narrative to play John Wall today.
Yep, I agree. All right, I think that about does it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm assuming there's a bigger slate. I think we're going to have the stream a little bit earlier tomorrow, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. If you guys have any other questions, you can reach out in Discord. Other than that, good luck tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow.